clearly to all of you. Okay, audio video is clear. Very good. How are you all? कैसे हैं आप सभी लोग? How are you all? How are you all? So I hope you all are good and preparing well for our exam. Yes, so in the last class we were discussing the concept of the labeling. In the last class we were discussing the concept of the labeling, and in the labeling as of now we have discussed some important terminology, and the last terminology that we have covered, that was the benchmark. So in the benchmark, we have covered two types of the benchmark: permanent benchmark and temporary benchmark. Permanent benchmark are the points that have been established by the Survey of India throughout the country. That point we can consider for labeling purpose, that we can consider for our labeling work, and those points are fixed point, will consider as the permanent benchmark. And for any temporary surveying work, for any temporary labeling work, the point that we are defining for a particular survey work will consider as the temporary benchmark. So now let's go for the field work. Now let's go for the field work in the case of labeling. So let's take label, staff and tripod and move to the field. So are you ready? So now we want to see what are the various measurements. Like in the case of chain, in the case of tape, we have measured the horizontal distance. In the case of compass survey, the objective was measured to the bearing. For that we have measured the fore bearing and back bearing of the line. If you want to measure the bearing, if you want to measure the angle, horizontal angle, to that angles we have measured with the help of the fore bearing and back bearing. So if I talk about the field work of the compass survey, if I talk about the field work of the compass survey, so that field work was related to the measurement of fore bearing and back bearing. Similarly, in the case of traverse survey, we have also discussed about the traverse survey. So in the case of traverse survey, we have measured the bearing of the lines with the help of the compass. Let's say we have measured the fore bearing and we have measured the back bearing, and we have also measured the length of the line with the help of the chain. So in the case of traverse survey, we have performed two types of the measurement. One was the linear measurement and another was the angular measurement. So in every survey, we are performing some field measurements and we are collecting the data. Here our objective is to find out the reduced level. Just try to understand. Here our objective is to find out the reduced level, but we will have to see, can we get the reduced level directly, or is there any methods from which we can find out the reduced level. So field work is a different thing. Sometimes, like in the case of chain survey, you have directly measure the distance, yes or no. But in the case of compass survey, if you want to measure the angle between the two lines, to define or to calculate that angle, we need to measure the bearings. For that purpose, we have measured the bearings, yes or no. So similarly, in the case of labeling work, the main objective is to find out the reduced level. When I am talking about the reduced level, that means our reference for the measurement is going to be the reference for the measurement will be the mean sea level. But can we find this reduced level directly, or is there any method that we can opt for getting the reduced level of any desired point? So now that we will see. So let's move to the ground. So in this class we will talk about the methods to find out the RL in the labeling work. We will talk about the methods to find out the RL. So what are the various methods? What is the height of the instrument method? What is the rise and fall method? And we will cover a very important concept, that is the concept of inverted staff. So these are the topics that we will cover in this class. But before moving to this topic, we will discuss about the field work in the labeling work. So let's consider. तो for example, we visited a field. हम एक field पे चलते हैं and the field condition is something like this. This is the profile of your ground. You can consider any profile. If you don't want to consider continuously rising profile, no problem with that. You can consider the profile like this. Okay. You can consider the profile like this. This is the ground profile. Any problem to anyone? So this is the ground profile that we are observing. Let's say here are some points. Let's say here are some points. Let's say this is the point 1. This is the point 1. This is the point 2. And this is the point 3. These are the 3 points. Or you can say the point A, point B or point C. No problem later. You can give any name. You can say point P, point Q, point R. No problem. These are the 3 stations or the 3 points. Now our objective is to find out the RL of all these points. Now our objective is to find out the RL of these 3 points, point 1, 2 and 3. RL of these 3 points 1, 2 and 3. Tell me how you can find out the RL. Tell me how you can find out the RL. So to find out the RL, we required mean sea level. If you want to define the RL of any point, first and foremost thing that is required, that is the reference. So here are you able to see the mean sea level? Where is the mean sea level? Where is the mean sea level in this case? So I don't think so. You are able to see the mean sea level, and without reference we cannot perform any Mumbai High. Let's say, for example, this place is in UP in Kanpur. I am talking about this particular place, let's say. And here there is no sea. Here there is no sea. In Kanpur, no sea is there. So for vertical distance measurement, should I go for Mumbai? Should I go for Mumbai? Answer will be no. We need to measure this vertical distance at any place throughout the country, na? We need to measure the vertical distance of any point, and that point may lie on any state or you can say or any place. So obviously, now in this survey work, there must be a one point. Now in this survey work, there must be a point. Those position you should know. Without that point, we cannot perform the measurement. Without that point, we cannot define any RL. So there must be a point. Those position is known to us. And all we know, the point which is having the known elevation or the known RL will consider or will known as the benchmark. Yes or no? So let's say we have one point. Let's say this is the point P. Let's say this is the point P, and we know the RL of this point. We know the RL of this point. The point P is having the known RL. So can I consider this point P as the benchmark? So can I consider this point P as a benchmark? What it physically means? If I am saying that I know the RL of this point, if I am saying that I know the RL of the point P, that means I know the position of this point P from the mean sea level. Can we say like this? If I am saying that I am knowing the RL of this point P, so I can conclude like I know the position of this point P from the mean sea level. From the mean sea level, no matter mean sea level is visible to me or not. No matter I am able to locate the mean sea level at that place, that is not an issue. But if this is the benchmark, this elevation they must have defined from the mean sea level. So because I don't have mean sea level near me, Because I don't have mean sea level near me, so what I will do, I will consider this benchmark as a reference now. I will consider this benchmark as a reference now for this leveling work. I hope you got this point. Yes or no? I hope you got this point. We can consider this benchmark as the mean sea level. So let's see. So first we will talk about the measurements in the leveling work. So we have instrument like tripod. We have instrument like tripod. So first we will fix the tripod. So let's say somewhere here we have placed our instrument something like this, and on the tripod we have provided the auto level. On the tripod, let's say we have provided a level instrument. So in the level instrument, the most important part is telescope. In the level instrument, the most important part is telescope. So when I will always represent the level with the help of this diagram. So you can consider this is as the telescope. So whenever we will use the instrument, can we start taking the measurement directly? Can we start taking the measurement directly? Can we start taking the measurement directly on the field? Answer will be no. As you have discussed, centering is not required in the case of leveling. Leveling के केस में centering is not required. For different instrument, we are having the different temporary adjustment. What you will achieve if you go for the centering? Because this instrument we have not placed any on any station randomly as per the suitability. Where I can place the instrument, that will totally depend upon from which position I can take the maximum observation. I will place the instrument such that from that position I can take the maximum measurement, I can take the maximum number of the readings. This is the purpose. On that basis we have selected the location. Centering is required when you have to done the measurement from a particular point. Yes or no? Like in the case of compass, the centering was required because you want to measure the angle between the line OA and OB. And if there will be no proper centering of the point O, then you will get the incorrect measurement. So in this case, centering is not required. So if I talk about the temporary adjustment of the level, so first adjustment that you need to provide to your instrument, that is going to be the setting up. So first what we will do, we will see कि from which place, from this position of the instrument, we can cover the maximum stations. Based on that, we will first set up the instrument at any suitable position. So this is going to be the first temporary adjustment. Second is going to be the focusing, or you can say then we can go for the level. Let's do for the leveling. So before taking the measurement, our instrument should be perfectly leveled. Our telescope should be perfectly level. And how we can ensure that? In the previous class, in the last class, I have discussed about the leveling screw or foot screw. Do you remember? In the last class, we had discussion about the leveling screw or the foot screw. So at the base of the level instrument, there was 3 screw like this. Yes or no? So with the help of this leveling screw or foot screw, what we can do? We can level our instrument about both the axes. So let's say this is the plane. Plane is having the 2 dimension. Plane is having the 2 axes, yes or no? Plane is having the 2 axes. So with the help of these three leveling screw or fit screw, we can level our instrument about x axis and about y axis. And how we can ensure that our instrument is perfectly leveled. So for that, there was a bubble. There was a bubble. So now what we will do, we will try to make this bubble at the center. So there will be marking something like this at the center. There will be marking something like this. Now what we want, that this bubble should be at the center. And this bubble will be at the center only if the instrument is leveled about both the axis, x axis and y axis. If instrument is not leveled about any particular axis, this bubble you will not get in at the center. Let's say this bubble is at the center about the x axis, but when you will change the orientation of your instrument, the bubble will automatically displace from the center. So this bubble should be at the center at any position of the instrument. That's why it is very important to take proper leveling of the instrument, and for that we will use the leveling screw or foot screw. How we can make sure that the level instrument is leveled about x axis and y axis? So let's see. First we will take any two screw. We will rotate this screw either inward or outward. We will rotate this screw either inward or outward. So first we are leveling our instrument about one axis with the help of these two screws. First we are leveling our level instrument base plate about one axis with the help of these two screws. So when we will move this screw either inward or outward, so you will see there will be shift in the position of this bubble. There will be shift in the position of this bubble. So we will clamp or unclamp these screws till this bubble is at center about this axis. So we will keep rotating. We will keep rotating this leveling screw or foot screw till the bubble is at center about this axis. If the bubble is at center with the help of these two screws, can we say we have leveled our instrument? We have leveled our instrument about one axis. Tell me, if we have located the bubble, we have fixed the level at the bubble at the center with the help of these two screws, can we say the bubble is indicating that the instrument is leveled about one axis? Yes or no? Now what we will do? After leveling our instrument with the help of these two screws, now we will rotate our telescope about 90 degree, because we know between these two axes, x axis and y axis, the angle is going to be 90 degree. Because between these two axes the angle will be equal to 90 degree. So first let's say the initial condition of telescope was like this. So now we are going to rotate the telescope like this. And then do not disturb these 2 points. Do not disturb these two screws. When you have rotated our telescope about 90 degree, then again you will see the bubble will shifted from the center. As you are going to rotate the telescope, the bubble will get shifted. Now what you will do? Now with the help of this third screw, you will level the instrument about another axis. So when you will use the third screw, you will not disturb first and second screw, these two screws. So this is first screw, second screw, third screw. So with the help of first and second screw, we have leveled our instrument about one axis. Now when the instrument was leveled, Now we will use the third screw to level the instrument about the another axis. Let's say by with the help of the third screw, again we have spotted this bubble at the center. Can we say our centering, can we say the leveling of the level is done? Can we say the leveling of the level instrument is done? Can we say the leveling of the level instrument is done? Answer is no. So when initially we have leveled our instrument about the x-axis axis, now we have leveled our instrument about the y-y axis, then again you have to check for the x-axis axis. Yes, you need to check again. So this may not be the situation कि when you are shifting the telescope, again the bubble is displaced from the center. So this is the trial and error. We will keep leveling our instrument when we are rotating our telescope like this. At any position of the telescope, the bubble should be at the center. So one axis, then another axis, then again one axis. So we will keep repeating this work till then the instrument is not perfectly leveled. So first temporary adjustment was the setting up of the instrument, and second temporary adjustment in the case of leveling work is the level of the auto level or the leveling of the level instrument. I hope the point is clear to everyone. So these two temporary adjustments are clear to everyone. These two temporary adjustments are clear to everyone. Or if anyone having any doubt, any query, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. Clear. Now the third is focusing. Now the third is focusing. So two types of the focusing is required. Two types of the focusing is required in the case of level work. So let's say this was your telescope. Let us consider this as the telescope. Let's say this is the eyepiece and this is the objective piece. The cap side is the eyepiece and the bottom side is the objective piece. So now what we will do? First we are going to focus the eyepiece. And when we will come to know that the eyepiece is perfectly focused. So for focusing the eyepiece, there was the screw like this. We have discussed in the last class. There will be a screw like this cap. You can rotate in both the direction, clockwise and anti-clockwise. You can rotate this screw in both the direction, clockwise and anti-clockwise. So there will be a screw on the eyepiece. There will be one screw on the eyepiece. With the help of that screw, so by continuously you will see in the telescope like this, and you are keep rotating this screw. You are keep rotating this screw till when you will see the diaphragm clearly. So you will see a diaphragm like this, a crosshair like this. So these black lines, if you are able to see clearly from the eyepiece, then you will say our instrument is focused from the eyesight end. So in this way, this diaphragm should be clearly visible. If these diaphragms are not clearly visible, then there is a focusing of eyepiece is required. I hope that point is also clear to everyone. So first we will go for the focusing of the eyepiece with the help of this screw. Everyone please confirm. Your interaction is very important in the class. So please be interactive in the class so that we can cover all the concept in detail as much as possible. So this diaphragm or the crosshair, This diaphragm or the crosshair should be clearly visible to you from the eyepiece. Once these are clearly visible, now what we will do? Now we will focus the objective side. Now we will focus this objective side, and for focusing this objective side, there will be an external screw like this. Crosshair will be in the telescope itself. Crosshair or this marking will be in the telescope itself, near to the eyepiece. Near to the eyepiece. Till now we have not discussed anything about the staff. All these temporary adjustments are required in the case of level. So there will be an external focusing screw on the side of this telescope. So you will see a screw like this. You will see a screw like this, and by rotating this screw, you can focus the objective side. So what you will see, when you are rotating this screw, the position of the lens will change so that it will increase or decrease of your visibility. So there, let's say there must be any object. So when you will rotate this external focusing screw, you will say in your visibility will increase or decrease, and you have to keep adjusting. You have to keep adjusting this external focusing screw. Till then the object is not clearly visible to you. When the object is clearly visible, that means the focusing of the objective piece is also done. That means the focusing of the objective piece is also done. I hope the discussion about the temporary adjustment of the level is clear to everyone. So first was the setting up, second is going to be the leveling, and third will be the focusing of the eyepiece and objective piece. These adjustments are required before taking any observation. If you are taking the observation without performing these temporary adjustments, that observations are going to be incorrect. Those staff readings are going to be incorrect. And if you are getting the incorrect staff reading on the field, if you are getting the incorrect staff reading on the field, then you will not able to get the correct reduced level, because reduced level we will calculate with the help of the staff reading only. With the help of the staff reading only. So if you want to calculate, if you want to define the reduced level of all the point accurately, so it is essential, so it is very essential to take all the staff readings correctly. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Or whenever we will shift the instrument from one position to another position, again we will repeat all these temporary adjustment. So first time when we are setting up this instrument, temporary adjustment are required. If in the survey work we are putting this instrument from more than one position, then at every position, before taking any measurements, first we will go for the temporary adjustment. First we will go for the temporary adjustment. Now I think the discussion is clear to everyone. Can we move further? Can we move further? So let's come back to our original problem. So what was the problem? In this survey work, they have asked, we need to find out the RL of the point 1, 2 and 3. As of now, we know the RL of this point P. We know the RL of this point P. How we can find out the RL of these point 1, 2 and 3? Listen carefully. When I am talking about the RL, the reference should be mean sea level. When I am talking about the RL, the reference for the measurement, that should be mean sea level. So you need to define the position of the point 1. You need to define the position of the point 2 and 3 from the mean sea level. You need to define the vertical distance of these point 1, 2, 3 from the mean sea level. from the mean sea level. So as of now, we don't know, let's say we don't know about any method, but what we can do, we can take the staff reading at any station. If we are having the level, if we are having the level, we can take the staff reading at any station, yes or no? If we are having the level and the staff, if we are having the level and the staff at any position, you will tell, I will take the staff reading, there will be no problem. But before taking any staff reading, first we need to do all the temporary adjustment. Before taking any staff reading, first we need to perform all the temporary adjustment. So what we will do, now let's say we have placed the staff first at point. We are placing the staff like this. Let's see. So let's say, so first we have set up the instrument, we have performed the temporary adjustment. Now we can locate our line of sight. So if the instrument is perfectly level, this is going to be the line of sight, yes or no? We will able to see like this, and as we have performed all the temporary adjustment, this line of sight should be perfectly horizontal. This line of sight should be perfectly horizontal because we have performed all the temporary adjustment. Now what we will do, listen carefully. So now we can simply place the staff at point P. Now we can simply place the staff at point P, something like this. So can I say, corresponding to this point, I will get a reading on the staff. Instrument at benchmark, no dear. Again I am repeating Riya, same thing. You can place the instrument as per your suitability. You are going to place the instrument at the position from where you can take the maximum observation. So there is no need to put the instrument at the benchmark, or there is no need to put the instrument at station A or 2, 1 or 2. It will totally depend upon your suitability. From where you can take the comfortably, you can take the field measurement, you can take the staff reading. On that basis you will place the instrument. On that basis you will place the instrument. Yes. So if I am placing the staff, and the staff should be perfectly at the 90-degree from the ground surface, or you can say the staff should be perfectly vertical. If we are placing the staff like this, we will get the incorrect staff reading, na? We will get the incorrect staff reading, yes or no? So always, whenever we will take the staff reading, make sure this staff is perfectly vertical. That means it should be perfectly perpendicular to the earth surface. It should be perfectly perpendicular to the earth surface, yes or no? I hope the discussion till now is clear to everyone. So simply with the help of the staff and this telescope, let's say I am saying this is the reading that we are getting on the staff, that is HP. H is the staff reading, P is the point. So can we say now we have taken the staff reading at the point P, or at the point or at the benchmark? It was very simple. You just need to perform all the temporary adjustment on the level. You can place the staff at any position. Place the staff in correct position and you will get the staff reading very easily. Yes or no? Similarly, without disturbing the level instrument, we are not disturbing our level instrument. Now we will take this staff and we are going to put this staff at station 1. Now what we will do, we will place this staff at station 1. So when I will place the staff at station 1, again I will get the staff reading at 1. Similarly, I will place the staff at station 2 and I will place the staff at station 3. No matter how many stations are there, from this position, if you are able to see n number of stations, you can take n staff readings, no problem with that. So there is no rule as such कि we have to take minimum these readings or maximum these readings. You can take any number of readings as per your convenience. So as you can see in this diagram, it was easy for me to take all the staff reading from this position. That's why we have placed our instrument at this point. That's why we have placed our level instrument at this point. I hope the discussion is clear to everyone. So this was your labeling work. This was your labeling work. You just simply want to take the staff reading at various stations. We have taken the staff reading at P, that was the HP. We have taken the staff reading at point 1. This reading we can term as H1. We have taken the staff reading at point 2. This reading we can say H2. And this reading we can say H3. So in this survey work, total number of the staff readings that we have taken are, in this survey work, how many total staff readings we have taken on the field? How many staff readings that we have taken on the field? Yes, we have taken 4 staff readings. One was HP, another was H1, then it was H2, and then H3. Can I say all these are the staff readings? Can I say all these are the staff readings? Yes or no? Can I say all these are the staff readings? HP, H1, H2, H3, all are the staff readings, yes or no? But field work is done. Field work is done. So if anyone asks from you कि what do you will measure in the case of labeling work? So if I talk about the field measurement of the labeling work, we will always take the staff readings at different stations. We will always take the staff reading at different stations. That's it. But what was the objective of the labeling? What was the objective of the labeling? The objective of the labeling was to find out the RL. The objective of the labeling was to find out the reduced level of the points. So our objective is fulfilled or not? If you have taken the staff reading, is your objective is fulfilled? Tell me. That was not our objective to take the staff reading. That was not our primary objective to take the staff reading. Our objective of the labeling work was to find out the RL. We want to find out the RL of the point 1, 2, 3. That means we want to define these points vertically from mean sea level. This was your objective. But what you have done, you have just taken these staff readings. Yes, this is your field work in the case of labeling. Now we will discuss some methods. How we can find out the RL of points with the help of these staff readings. For that we should know about some methods. So this is the field work that we have done. We will collect the data from the field, then we will simply go to the office. And we are going to calculate all the RLs on the office itself. We will calculate all the RL on the office itself. Do you want to know how we can calculate the RL with the help of these staff readings? Do you want to learn or do you want to know how we can find out the RLs of the points with the help of these staff readings? Yes or no? Definitely yes. So now for our better understanding, like in the case of bearing, both the fore bearing at the back bearing are the angle. Yes or no? Both fore bearing and back bearing were angle. Both angles you have measured from the north. Both angle you have measured in the clockwise direction. Everything was same for both the angles. If I talk about the fore bearing, if I talk about the back bearing, for both the bearings, we have measured the angle from the north in the clockwise direction. But again, still we have classified the bearing in two types. One was the fore bearing and another was the back bearing. Because we have seen the utility of this concept. Just to make the things easy for us, we have classified the bearings of two types based on the direction of survey. One was the fore bearing and another was the back bearing. So with the help of this concept, you have understood how you can check the accuracy of your survey work. Just by taking the two bearings for a line, for any line we have taken two readings, and with the help of those two readings, we can check the accuracy of the survey work, yes or no? We can check the accuracy of the survey work. So similarly, here I am classifying, I will discuss about three types of the staff readings. Listen carefully. It is very important to understand what is the difference. So the prime that we have measured, the field measurement that we have done for the staff readings, just for our better understanding, we are classifying the three types of the staff reading. One is going to be the back side. Staff reading. Another is going to be the intermediate side. That we can represent with the help of the IS, and last will be the fore side. FS. Last will be the fore side. How we are defining, how we will know which reading is the back side reading, which reading is the intermediate side reading, and which reading is the fore side reading. So let's see the concept. Whenever we will shift the instrument, the first reading of the leveling work, or generally we are taking this reading on the benchmark. The first reading on the leveling work, and generally we are considering this reading on the benchmark, we are taking on the benchmark, will be considered as the backside reading. No. Try to understand this situation. First reading taken from the known elevation. It is not compulsory that always you are going to take the first reading on the known elevation point. It is not compulsory that you will always take the first reading on the benchmark. Sometimes you need to take the staff reading on the unknown point also. So let's say if we are shifting our instrument from one point to another point, so from the first position of the instrument, the first reading was backside reading. Again, when we will shift the instrument to the another position, in the continuation of that survey work, after the shifting, whatever first reading we will consider from the new position of the instrument, that will also consider as the backside. That's why I have said it is the first reading that we are taking on the leveling work. Generally, this reading we are taking on first reading we are taking on the benchmark. I hope you understood both the conditions. Yes or no? how I can identify which reading is backside reading. Now I think this point is clear to everyone. Now I think this point is clear to everyone, yes or no? Similarly, the last reading of the level work. The last reading of the level work. So when I am talking about the first and last, I am talking a particular position of the instrument. In survey work, it may be possible that you are shifting your instrument in 5 positions. Yes or no? You are taking the field measurements by shifting your instruments in 5 different positions. So on that case, you will get 5 backside reading and you will also get the 5 foreside reading. So from any particular position of the instrument, from any particular setup of the instrument, the first reading we will consider as the backside reading and the last reading from that position will be considered as the foreside reading. Remaining all other readings, remaining all other readings, remaining all other readings will considered as the intermediate side reading. Will considered as the intermediate side reading. So based on this explanation, can you identify or can you please tell me about these 4 readings? Out of these 4 readings, tell me how many readings are the backside reading and which one? How many readings are the foreside reading and which one? And how many readings are the intermediate side readings and which one? Tell me in the chat box. We have discussed about the definition of the backside. We have discussed about the definition of the foreside and we have also discussed the definition of the intermediate side. Yes. So first reading that we have taken generally on the known position. So this is going to be the backside reading. This is going to be the backside reading. From this position of the instrument, the last reading of the survey work, and that is the S3, that will be considered as the foreside reading. That we will consider as the foreside reading. All other remaining readings, yes, that we have considered, so like H1 and H2 are going to be the intermediate side reading. I hope this point is clear to everyone. Yes or no? So the concept of the backside, all these are the staff readings, but as per our convenience, because we want to discuss some method, because we want to apply some method, that's why we have classified these readings in the different types: backside, intermediate side and foreside. Backside, intermediate side and foreside. Okay. So now what we will do, so whenever we will go for the field measurement, so we will prepare the field book. Or you can say a level book. So we will prepare a field book or the level book, and the format of the level book will be something like this. So first try to understand there are 2 methods. There are 2 methods to find out the RL with the help of the staff reading. First one is the rise and fall. First one is the HI method. So let's see. First one is the HI method, or you can say height of instrument method, or you can say line of collimation method. So this is the first method that you can use, that you can opt for calculating or defining the RL of the point. We will discuss in detail, don't worry. And the second method is rise or fall method. Rise or fall method. So now we will discuss one by one. So first we will see about the field book or the label book. For both the methods, how we can prepare the field data, how we can collect the field data. First we will discuss about that point. So let's talk about the format for the HI method. So there will be the station, then there will be column for the back side, intermediate side, fore side, then there will be the column for the RL, and the last will be of remark. So you will get the format like this. So I am discussing the basic format. The number of rows and will increase depending upon your survey work. So how many readings you are taking, on that basis this table may get extended. This table may get extended. So this is the station, back side, intermediate side, fore side, RL and remark. So let's say we have done a little bit survey work. In our example we have taken some measurements. Yes or no? In our example we have taken some measurements. So with the help of this example itself, we will discuss, let's say, we will discuss these methods also. Let's say, so how I can record the field data? So I will write at station P, at station 1, at station P, at station 1, at station 2 and at station 3. We have taken the reading. So at station P, we were getting the reading, and that was the HP, and HP was the backside reading. So can I place HP here? At station P, the staff reading that we were getting, that was the backside. So I have placed at this position. Or any other reading you are getting on the station P? At station P, you are getting only one reading, and that is the HP. And with the help of the concept that just we have discussed, it is going to be the backside reading. So no intermediate side we are getting on the P, no fore side we are getting on the P. Because the P point was the benchmark, the elevation of the P point was known. So can I write a remark here that the point P is the benchmark? Can I write a remark here that point P is the benchmark, yes or no? Similarly, let's say at the station 1, we were getting the intermediate side reading, and that was the H1. Similarly, at the station 2, we were getting the intermediate side reading, that was the H2. We can place here. We will have the numeric value for all the readings. When we will see the question, we will have the numeric value. Just now we are using the standard notations. At the station C, no backside, no intermediate side, we were getting the reading S3, and that was the fore side reading. That was the fore side reading. So we will record all the reading like this. We will record all the readings. We will collect all the readings in this format. The format of the field book or the label book for the HI or the line of collimation method is clear to everyone. Again, till now our objective is not fulfilled. Till now our objective is not fulfilled. What was our objective? With the help of the labeling work, we want to find out the RL of the point 1, 2 and 3. And till now we don't know the RL of the point 1, 2 and 3. But very soon you will get. Let's see. If anyhow, let us assume I don't know where will be the mean sea level, I don't know, but just to understand the concept, let's say I am representing this is as a mean sea level. I have representing this line as a mean sea level. कहीं ना कहीं तो होगा, somewhere will be there will be the position of the mean sea level. No matter we can see, we can define or not. As you have mentioned, कि sir the point P is the benchmark. So you must have told me the RL of this point P to me. Yes or no? If this point P is having the benchmark, so definitely I know this distance. Definitely I know the position of the point P from the mean sea level. Yes or no? Definitely I know the distance, this vertical distance of the point P from the mean sea level. And let's say this is the elevation that is capital H, and that is known to you. If this H is not known, how you will see this is the benchmark? If this H is not known to you, how you will see this is the benchmark? If this is the benchmark, this H must be known to us. And yes, this is known. If I consider this instrument, can I define the height of this instrument from the center of the telescope? And if this line of sight is perfectly horizontal, this green line you can consider as the line of collimation. If your line of sight is perfectly horizontal, you can consider this line as the line of collimation. So if I want to define the height of this instrument, how I can define? Do you have any idea from the diagram? If I want to define the height of, let's say, this point X, so that height I need to define from the mean sea level. If I want to know the RL of this point X, if I want to define the RL of this line of collimation, we have to measure the vertical distance of that line of collimation from the mean sea level. Yes or no? From the mean sea level, yes or no? So don't you think, yes, we can define, so we can write the elevation of the point P, that is the benchmark, and if we are adding this staff reading, we can define the RL of the point X. Yes or no? So first of all, can I calculate the height of the instrument? HI will be equal to, you can say, the RL of benchmark plus backside reading on the benchmark. When you will have the value, you can put the value. Yes or no? HP plus H minus X, Y minus X. I have taken a point X on this green line. I have taken this point X on the green line, and I want to find out the RL of this point X itself. So Y minus X will be there. So this is the HP, let's say. This is the H having the known RL. If we are adding this SP, then we will get the RL of the point X. So if you want to take the notations, you can also mention the rotation. So you can say this is capital H, and if we are adding the HP, then we can get the HI. No need to remember anything. ये कोई formula नहीं है. These are not formula. Just try to understand the basic of this method. These terms are not required. Without any formula, you can solve any question. I hope the discussion till now is clear to everyone. But if once I know the RL of this green line, listen carefully. Once I know the RL of this green line or the height of the instrument, how can I define the RL of the point 1? Tell me. I want answer from all of you. If I want to know the RL of the point 1, RL means measurement of this point from the mean sea level, how I can define the RL of the point 1? How I can define the RL of the point 1 now? HP is equal to H minus H1. Why you are defining the HP, dear? Huh. Yes, so can I say this is nothing but this is the HI. So I can write RL of point 1 will be equal to HI minus staff reading at point 1. Tell me. If I know the RL of this green line, if I subtracting this H1 value, I will reach to the point H1. I will reach to the point 1, and that will nothing but position of the point 1 from the mean sea level. That will nothing but position of the point 1 from the mean sea level, yes or no? So once we know the HI, so I can find out the RL of the point 1 will be equal to HI minus staff reading at 1. I can also like this HI minus H1. This is going to be the RL of the point 1. This is going to be the RL of the point 1. If anyone having any doubt, any query at any point till now, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. You can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. If anyone having any doubt, any query till now, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So yeah, if there is no doubt, so tell me what will be the RL of point 2. Now I will not answer. Now I will not answer. You people are going to tell me what will be the RL of the point 2. What will be the RL of the point 2? You can refer this diagram. What will be the RL of the point 2? Yes, it's very simple. It is going to be HI minus staff reading at point 2. That will be equal to H2. So now you can tell me what will be the RL of point 3. What will be the RL of the point 3? Tell me fast. What will be the RL of the point 3? Can I do same things in a tabulated form? Can I perform all these calculations in the table itself? Yes. How? Let's see. So what will be the RL? Arey bhaiya, this is the benchmark. This must have known RL. This must have known RL, yes or no? The RL of the point P will be known to you. That's why you are considering this point P as the benchmark. That's why you are considering this point P as the benchmark. So, if I want to find out the RL of the point 1 will be equal to HI minus H1. This is going to be HI minus H2, and this will be equal to HI minus H3. Okay, so we have missed one term here. Just wait. We have missed one column. So there must be one more column. Let me correct this. Just wait. So intermediate side, then fourth side will be there. Then there will be a column for HI and there will be a column for RL. Now this is the correct format. So we have missed this HI. So this is the format. So the last reading was 4 side. So I can write this HI will be equal to capital H plus back side. Then I can write this reading is going to be HI minus H1. This is going to be HI minus H2. This will be equal to HI minus H3. In this way, we can find out. In this way, we can find out all the RL, yes or no. तो ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो, this minus this will be equal to this. This HI minus this staff reading will be equal to this. So let's see how we can calculate in a tabulated form this HI minus this staff reading. This HI minus this staff reading will be equal to the RL of this point. So can we perform all these calculations in the table itself? Can we perform all these calculations in the table itself? So this was very simple case when we have taken all the measurements, all the readings from one station. Whenever there will be the shift of the instrument, your HI will change. Whenever we will shift the instrument from one position to another position, as soon as the instrument position will change, the HI will change. So in that case, this is going to be your HI1, and then you will find another HI, and this will be HI2. So that we will also discuss. But from this example, we have discussed the basic of HI or the line of collimation method. And I hope that basic is clear to everyone. I hope the basic concept of HI or the line of collimation method is clear to everyone. How you can find out the RL of any point with the help of the staff reading, with the concept or in a tabulated form. Now I think this discussion is clear to everyone. Yes or no? So whatever calculations you are doing, at the end you can also apply the check. So there will be a check for the HI method. So this is the beauty of this concept. You need not to depend on other one. If you have solved any question related to the leveling, you can cross check at your own that whatever you have calculated is correct or not, that you can easily check. So what is this check? This check says algebraic summation of all the back side minus algebraic summation of all the four side. In this survey work, algebraic summation of all the back side minus algebraic summation of all the four side should be equal to the RL of the last point minus RL of the first point. It should be equal to the RL of the last point and RL of the first point. If this condition, if this check is satisfied, that means whatever you have calculated, whatever RLs you have calculated, all those RLs are absolutely correct. All those RLs are absolutely correct. Now I think the discussion is clear to everyone. So this check is very important from your objective questions point of view. So majorly you will get the question related to this check itself. So this was the discussion related to the HI method. This was the discussion related to the HI method. So now we are moving for the next method, and we have one more method, and that is the rise or fall method. So same example we will solve with the help of the rise and fall method. Same example we will solve with the help of the rise and fall method. No matter if there will be change in method, RL will not change, na? If we are using the HI method, if we are using the rise and fall method, or if we are using any other method, HI should the RL should be same, na? Yes or no? By changing the method, the RL will not change. because we are defining the RL for a fixed point. If the position of that point is not changing, how the RL will change? If the point is fixed, if the reference is fixed, always you will get a fixed vertical distance. But there are various methods for solving the same type of the problem. We are having the different methods. As per the suitability, we can use any method. As depending upon the site condition, you can use any method. So first we have discussed about the HI or the line of collimation method. Now I will talk about the rise or fall method. So same example we are going to solve with the rise or fall method. Same example we are going to solve with the rise or fall method. So let's see. So first see the format or the field book. So the first column is going to be the station. The next column will be equal to the back side. Then it will be intermediate side. Then it will be fore side. Then there will be a column for the rise. Then there will be a column for the fall. Then there will be a column for the RL. And then there will be a column for the remark. So this will be the format for your rise and fall method. This will be the format for your rise and fall method. So let's see. Same example I am considering. So there was a station P. There was a point 1. There was a point 2 and 3. So let's say how we will record the data. So the table till now is same for both the method. These 4 columns are same for both the methods. These 4 columns are same for HI method as well as from the rise and fall method. So if you want to calculate the RL from any method, first you need to put all the readings in this format. Yes or no? For that you should have clear understanding ki which reading is the foreside reading or which reading is the backside reading. Then only you will able to place all the readings correctly. If you are placing any readings at different position, all the solution is going to be incorrect. So now I can fill very easily. Now I can fill very easily. So first station was P, then station 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, here I was getting the backside, that is HP. No intermediate, no foreside. That was H1. That was H2. And the last reading was S3. And the last reading that we were getting was S3. And that will be the foreside reading. That we will the foreside reading. So this work we can do very easily. This work we can do very easily. And I hope the discussion is clear. Now let's see the concept of the rise and fall. We will compare the current station with the previous station. Or you can say, for example, first we will compare station P and station 1. First we will compare the station P and station 1. Station 1 is at higher elevation or at lower elevation as compared to the P, that I want to know. Station 1 is at higher elevation or at lower elevation as compared to the point P, that I know, that I want to know. So what we will do for this, I will take the staff reading. I will take the staff reading at P and take the difference of the staff reading at 1. Listen carefully. So agar if we are getting this value as a positive, so then we will see there will be a rise and if we are getting this value as negative, then we will say there will be the fall in the elevation. Let's come back to this diagram. The staff reading at P was HP. We don't have any value, but with the diagram we can understand. The staff reading at the point P was HP. The staff reading at 1 was H1. The staff reading at 1 was H1. If I am comparing the listen carefully, then answer. If I am comparing the HP and H1, which value will be more? If I am comparing the HP and H1, which value will more? Tell me in the chat box. If I am comparing the HP and H1, which value will be more? HP will be more. So if I am taking the difference of HP and H1, if I am taking the difference of HP and H1, listen carefully. If I am taking the difference of HP and H1, we will get the positive value or negative value. We will get the positive value or negative value. If we are taking the difference of HP and H1, we will get the positive value or negative value. Positive value. Positive is indicating the rise. If you compare the elevation of the point P and 1, staff reading is less, but the elevation is more. Staff reading is less than HP, but the elevation is more. So can I conclude, if the staff reading is decreasing, if from the previous station to the next station, if the staff reading is decreasing, that means the next point is at higher elevation as compared to the previous point. Can we conclude like this? Tell me. If the staff reading is decreasing, that means elevation is increasing. If the staff reading is increasing, that means elevation is decreasing. So simply, now what I will do? I will compare the station 1 and 2. I will compare the station 1 and 2. Now what I will do? So staff reading at 1, staff reading at 1, that is H1, staff reading at 2, that is H2. If I want to take the difference of H1 and H2, it will be positive or negative. So if I am taking the difference of these two staff readings, let's say this is H1 minus H2, this will be positive or negative? This will be positive or negative? This will be positive or negative? If I am taking the difference of H1 and H2, the difference, okay, this is going to be negative. It is indicating the fall. It is indicating the fall. You can see the fall in the elevation. This was indicating the rise. Between the point P and point 1, this was the rise in the elevation. This was the rise. So can I say, for every station, we can calculate the rise or fall as compared to the previous station? Yes or no? Yes or no? For every station, with the help of the staff reading, we can find out there is a rise or fall. If we will get this difference as positive, we will see there will be rise. If we are getting this difference as negative, we will see there is a fall. That's it. Now try to solve the same problem in a tabulated form. Now try to solve this same problem in a tabulated form. Yes, you can easily solve. You can easily solve. So how I will solve? So I will compare the station P and 1. So as you can say, for this example, station P and 1, there is a rise. So I will write whatever value I will get, I will write here. Sorry. So there I will get no reading because We are starting our comparison from the station P itself. So when I will compare 1 and P, I will say there is a rise. There is a rise. Then I will compare station 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 you can say there is a fall. 1 and 2 there is a fall. 2 and 3 again there will be the rise. Again there will be the rise. So fall I will mention here. Fall I will mention here, and rise I will mention here. That's it. You will have the numerical values, don't worry. When you will solve the question, you will have the numerical value. So rise I have taken on the rise column. Whatever fall was there, that I have taken on the fall column. Now how you can calculate the RL? It's very easy. So this, let's say this is rise 1, this is rise 2, and this is fall 1. To avoid the confusion. So what I am saying, let's say this RL was known because this was the benchmark. So what will be the RL of the point 1? So H plus rise 1, yes or no? H plus rise 1 is going to be the RL of the point 1. H plus rise 1 will be equal to the RL of the point 1, yes or no? So what that you can say, this is going to be the RL of the point 1 H1. Can I say the H2 will be equal to nothing but H1 minus fall? Let's see. The RL of the point 2 will be equal to previous ka RL minus fall. Yes or no? Previous RL minus fall. Now again I can say this H3 will be equal to H2 plus rise. Yes or no? It's very easy. So based on the staff reading, we can easily calculate the rise or fall, or based on those rise and fall. Based on those rise and fall, we can easily calculate RL of all the points. Yes or no? We can easily calculate RL of all the points. And here also you are having a very important arithmetical check. So you can say algebraic summation of all the backside minus algebraic summation of all the foreside. It should be equal to algebraic summation of all the rise minus algebraic summation of all the fall. And it should also equal to last RL minus first RL. It should be equal to last RL minus first RL. So this is going to be the arithmetic check for your rise and fall method. This will be equal to arithmetic check for your rise and fall method. I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. So we have discussed about both the methods to find out the RL. We have discussed about the HI method or the line of co-elimination method, and we have discussed the basic concept of the rise and fall method. We have discussed the checks for both the methods. Field work, how you can take the observation, how you can take the staff readings, how you can fill the staff readings in the tables, how you can calculate the RL manually, or how you can calculate the RL in the tabulated form. I want confirmation from all of you. The discussion till now is clear to everyone, yes or no? I want confirmation from all of you. And if there is any doubt, any query at any point, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. there is any doubt, any query at any point, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So, all the things are here. We have discussed about two methods, HI method, rise and fall method. All the basic concept I have already covered. Survey is plain, that's why we are not considering the effect of the curvature of earth. So we are assuming this mean sea level as a level surface. Yes. So this was the discussion. Temporary adjustment, setting up of the instrument, leveling of the instrument, and focusing. So we have discussed the focusing of the eyepiece, and we have also discussed the focusing of the objective piece. Then this was the concept of the HI, how we can find out the HI, how we can find out the RL of all the points, and what was the arithmetical check. All these points I have already covered in detail. All these points I have already covered in detail. Similarly, in the case of rise and fall method, positive will indicate previous reading minus current reading. It will indicate if we are getting the positive value, it will indicate the rise, and if we are getting the negative value, that will indicate the fall. How we can calculate the RL? RL of the previous point plus rise, or if there is a fall, we will use the minus. If I talk about the arithmetical check of the HI method, sorry, rise and fall method, so this was the arithmetical check of the rise and fall method. All these points we have covered with the help of the example. Now we will see very important concept, and that will be the last concept for the today's class, and that concept is related to the inverted staff. That concept is related to the inverted staff, and this is very important topic from your GATE exam point of view. So from this topic you are getting a frequently easy 2 marks problem from this topic. So if I talk about the entire leveling, in your GATE exam you will get the maximum question, maximum number of types. They have provided the question, they have asked the question from the, I have discussed the concept, you can start attempting the question, and as I have already mentioned, after leveling we will have the two classes for your PYQs only. But before that I want you should apply all these concepts. If you are facing any problem, try to identify those points where you are facing the problem. If just I have discussed the concept, I will solve a question, you will feel yes, it is very easy. But after 2 days, all the concept will go. So what should be the approach? Let's discuss the concept in the class. Whenever there will be required, I will provide you the question. But if I am feeling this concept is sufficient, so you can go for the practice TPP questions, you can go for the PYQs, then only your confidence level will be boosted. So put your efforts, dear, put your efforts. And whatever I am explaining, this concept is going to be sufficient for you, and with the help of these concept itself you can solve any question. You just need to develop the habit, develop the process, how you can apply this concept, and for that your practice is required. So we will have the separate discussion for the PYQs in this course itself, so don't worry for that. Those are the good question, those we should discuss in the class. I will definitely discuss, you need not to worry for that. Clear? So we will have the discussion after labeling, we will have the discussion. So can we move further? Okay, so this was the concept, this is the very easy concept. Sir, is there any formula in this concept? No formula is required. No formula is required, and without formula you can solve any problem related to the inverted staff. Without formula you can solve any problem related to the inverted staff. Sir, how? And what is the concept of this inverted staff? For example, this is the earth surface. Let's understand. For example, this is the earth surface and a person is standing like this. So in general, what you will say? In general, what you will say? Sir, this is the normal position at which the person is standing, yes or no? This is the normal position at which the person is standing. And for example, this is your earth surface. This is your earth surface and the person is standing like this. And the person is standing like this. Now what you will say? At this condition, now what you will say? You will say, sir, this person is standing in the inverted position. Yes or no? This position is, you can define as the inverted position, yes or no? This position you can define as the inverted position. Tell me yes or no. This position you can define as the inverted position of this person. Yes or no? Yes. So similarly, if this is the earth surface and we have placed the staff something like this and the readings are increasing in the upward direction from the reference like 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Can I say this is the normal position of the staff? Can I say this is the normal position of the staff that we have placed? And if this is the reference, if this is the reference and the readings are increasing in the downward direction 0, 1, 2 and like this, so we will say this is the inverted position of the staff. Can I say this is going to be the inverted position of the staff? देखो, both these staff readings are vertical distance. If you will get the reading at this position, then also you will use the term, sir, this is the staff reading. If you are taking the field reading in this position of the instrument, then also you will use the term, sir, that in the labeling work we have taken some staff readings. But when you will tell about these two readings, for example, here the staff reading you have taken in any survey work, that was the 2 meter, for example. Here also you are getting the reading 2 meter. How you will differentiate between these two readings? Because the meaning of these two readings are different. But with the help of magnitude, you cannot define the difference in the position. You are saying, sir, from the reference there is a point having the elevation or having the vertical distance of 2 meter. How I will came to know this point is above the reference or below the reference? If you are just mentioning the staff reading, because there may be 2 points at the same vertical distance, there may be a point above the reference or there may be a point below the reference. So how I will understand you are talking about which point? Point above the reference point or point below the reference point? So for that, I think we need to apply certain sign convention. Just to make this thing easy or clear, to avoid this confusion, we should apply some sign convention, yes or no? So generally, we are representing the inverted staff reading with the help of negative sign. With the help of negative sign. Distance is distance. What do you mean by the positive distance or what do you mean by the negative distance? Both are the vertical distance. So here plus or minus is indicating just about the position. Yes or no? 2 meter is 2 meter. You can measure above the earth surface, you can measure the below the earth surface. There may be no change in the value of the 2 meter. Yes or no? But if you are representing the reading as minus 2 meter, it will tell me that reading you have taken below the reference. That's it. This is the significance of the negative here. So general practice, what we will follow, we will take the normal staff reading as the positive reading that we have done till now. In all the cases in the previous discussion, we have provided the staff in the normal position. We have provided our staff in the normal position, so we have considered all the readings with the positive. If anywhere I will take the inverted staff reading, I will take the reading on the inverted staff. To tell you, to provide you the clarity, we need to use the sign convention, and for that I will use the negative sign. So whenever I will use the negative sign in the staff reading, now I think you can easily understand कि sir, this reading must have taken on the inverted staff position. Yes or no? The next question, sir, why we will use the staff in inverted position? Why? What is the requirement to use the staff in the inverted position if we can take all the staff readings in the normal position? No, sometimes it is your requirement. You need to take the staff readings in the inverted position of the staff. In the inverted position of the staff. Do you want to see the example? I hope you all are attending the classes from your home or from your hostel, yes or no? From where you are attending the class, tell me just right now. From where? Don't want to location. I just want to confirm you are in a room. You are in a room, yes or no? Yes or no? In a hostel room, in a home room, somewhere in the room, yes or no? Okay. So now let's take that example itself. Now let's take that example itself. So for example, this is your room. For example, this is your room, and somewhere this is the floor of the room, and this is the ceiling. This is the ceiling of the room. Yes or no? This is the floor of the room and this is the ceiling. Yes or no? Obviously, if we are talking about the leveling work, so there must be a point which is having the known RL. So let's say this is the benchmark, or you can say this is the point P. On the floor, let's say this is the point P, and you are saying this is the benchmark. That means we know the position of this point from the mean sea level. That we know the position of this point from the mean sea level, yes or no? That we have discussed in detail. Suddenly, after attending this class, you got excited. Ki, sir, yes, now I got the concept of the leveling. Now what I will do, I will apply these concepts. You have arranged the staff, you have arranged the level instrument in your room, and now it's your dream. Huh? Sir, I want to measure, for example, sir, there is a fan in my room. There is a fan in my room. I want to find out the RL of this bottom point of this fan X. Let's say there is a point at the bottom of the fan. You want to find out the RL of that point. If you want to find out the RL of any point, for that the leveling work is required. Yes or no? For that the leveling work is required. So you have arranged all the setup, you have arranged the, let's say you have arranged the level instrument, you have arranged the staff, and now you are ready for the leveling work. Now you are ready for the leveling work. What you will do? Sir, first I will set up the instrument on the floor, something like this. Let's say, sir, I have set up the instrument. Then I will perform all the temporary adjustment and I will make sure this instrument is perfectly leveled. And this line of collimation is perfectly horizontal. So that we can ensure by performing all the temporary adjustment. Yes or no? By performing all the temporary adjustment. Then, sir, as per the discussion, the first reading that we should take on the benchmark. Yes or no? So it will be better if we are taking the first reading on the benchmark. So let's say this is the reading, sir, and that reading is backside reading. Because this is the first reading and that we are taking on the benchmark. Can you please tell me, to take this backside reading, you have to place the staff in the normal position or in the inverted position. This backside reading on the benchmark you have taken on the normal position of the staff or on the inverted position of the staff or on the inverted. So definitely this is the normal position of the staff. Undoubtedly we can say this is the normal position of the staff. Now what you have done, you have just taken this staff and you have placed that staff at the bottom of the fan, let's say at point X. So from here 0, 1, 2, the readings are increasing in this direction. Earlier the reading was increasing in the upward direction. So when you will take the staff in this way, again you will get this reading. Because this is the last reading, so I will say this is the four side of this level work. Yes or no? And let's say this reading you are getting as four side, and that staff reading you have taken in the inverted position of the staff. To take this reading, you need to put the staff in the inverted position, yes or no? To take the reading, to take this four side reading, you need to put the staff in the inverted position, yes or no? That four side we can also represent with the help of the negative sign. Just to tell you, this reading we have taken in the inverted position, so I can represent this reading with the help of the negative sign. Again I am repeating, here negative will only indicate the position of the staff. Here negative will only indicate the position of the staff. If we are getting the negative staff reading, that means we can clearly say that readings we have taken on the inverted staff. Tell me, if I know the RL of the benchmark, if I can measure this backside and foreside with the help of the leveling work, can you please tell me what will be the RL of the point X? What will be the RL of the point X? I don't know. You people need to tell me. I don't know what will be the RL of the point X, but you all can tell me what will be the RL of this point X that we have considered at the bottom of the fan. That we have considered at the bottom of the fan. I want to measure the distance of this X, vertical distance of this X from the mean sea level. How backside and foreside? Again I am repeating, whenever I will talk about the RL, I want measurement from the mean sea level. How many times same things I should repeat? How many times same things I should repeat? If I am using the term RL, can I say we have to define this point, we have to take the vertical distance measurement from the mean sea level. When you are saying, sir, this backside plus foreside, that means you are defining the vertical distance from the floor of the room. And if you are defining this vertical distance from the floor of the room, that will not consider as the RL. That will not consider as the RL. I hope you got the point. I hope you got the point. So if I know the benchmark, point P, so I can write the RL of the point will be equal to RL of the point P plus backside plus foreside. That's it. पहुंच गए यहाँ पर. In this way, you can reach up to point X. In this way, you can reach up to point X. If we know the RL of the P, if we know the backside reading, if we know the foreside reading, we can reach up to this point, and this is nothing but this is the RL of the point X. That distance you are defining from the mean sea level. That distance you are defining from the mean sea level. So this was the concept of the inverted staff. Very frequently, so there is no need to remember any formula. just try to draw the diagram. Whatever data they have provided, if you find any question related to the inverted staff in any exam, just try to draw the diagram. So sometimes they will provide you the RL of this point, they will ask about the RL of the bottom point. So any type of the question you will get, the basic concept of the inverted staff I think is clear to everyone. The basic discussion about the inverted staff is clear to everyone, yes or no? Or if anyone having any doubt, any query, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. So various questions you will find related to the inverted staff. So do practice the question. So the same point I have covered. So no need to remember here anything, otherwise you will get confused. Simply follow the concept that we have covered. So in this lecture, what we have covered? In this lecture, we have discussed field work in the leveling work. How we can take the field measurement, that we have covered. We have discussed the concept of the back side. We have discussed the concept of the intermediate side, and we have also discussed the concept of the foresight. Now, with the help of these staff readings, how we can prepare the field book or the level book for the HI method, for the rise and fall method, that we have covered. And then finally, with the help of the HI method and rise and fall method, how we can calculate the RL of the different points, that we have covered. And at the last, we have covered the concept of the inverted staff. And I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. So now you are in the position, whatever topics that we have covered till now in the leveling, you can start attempting any question. And I hope you all are attempting the GATE and ESE PYQs. So we have completed 4 chapters. We have already completed 4 chapters. So have you attempted GATE and ESE PYQs of that 4 chapters? Please tell me in the chat box. Have you attempted those questions related to the fundamental of surveying, related to the linear measurement, related to the compass surveying, and related to the traverse surveying? Have you practiced the question? And from the beginning itself, from the first day itself, I have told you all, if you are not practicing the question, you will not able to carry all these concepts till your exam. No matter how seriously you are attending the class, no matter how many live classes you are attending, until and unless you are not practicing the question, you, for a time being, you can say, yes, I have got the concept. For a time being. But you will not able to retain the concept till your exam if you are not revising the concept at your own. So try to understand this point, because if you are putting your time, if you are putting your effort for the preparation, ultimately you should get your result. And after putting the time, after putting the efforts, after putting the resources, if you are still not getting the results, that means you need to follow the correct approach also. So this is the very basic thing students generally do commit in this commit mistakes in this point. They are attending the classes, they are following some DPPs, and they are understanding, they are thinking, yes, the preparation is going on finally on a better track, on a right track. But this is not truth. It is very easy to understand the concept, because that is not your responsibility. It is my responsibility. If I am discussing any concept in the class, this is my responsibility that you should learn that concept, yes or no? Anyhow. So your responsibility starts when you got the concept. Now you have to retain that concept till the exam. I will not be there. No other teacher will be there in the exam center, yes or no, with you. You have to attempt all these questions at your own itself. So to develop that confidence, practice is required. And when you will practice the question at your own, gradually this confidence will improve, and that will help you, actually help you in your exam. So those who are not following the question, do follow the question. Question practice is very important and essential for your preparation. So in this way, almost we have completed the discussion for the plane leveling. In the next class, we will discuss the concept of the geodetic leveling, where we will also cover where we will also consider the effect of the curvature of earth. In the today's class, we have not considered the effect of the curvature of earth in our measurement. Whatever staff readings we have taken, no curvature effect was considered. Yes or no? Now we will extend our discussion of the leveling, and we will also consider the effect of the curvature in the measurement of the staff reading. Then how we will see which type of the error will be there due to the curvature, and what are the various corrections required to eliminate that error. So all these points that we will cover in the tomorrow's class. So this was all about for this class. I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. Do practice the question, do attempt the question of DPP. This was all about for this class. Thank you everyone. Keep learning, beta. Thank you.